Is NATO ready to face the major challenges that threaten its cohesion and effectiveness? As NATO approaches 2030, its evolving role is increasingly critical. Historically, the alliance has functioned not only as a defensive shield, but also as a platform for balancing the diverse interests of its member states, a dual purpose that remains vital in today's complex security environment. In the face of growing external threats from Russia and China, internal divisions over financial contributions, and the rise of hybrid threats like cyber attacks, the alliance must adapt to remain relevant. In the present day, a key challenge for NATO in the run-up to 2030 is to strengthen extended deterrence, ensuring that any attack on a NATO member triggers a collective response, which would discourage adversaries such as Russia or China. For Russia, this would mean increasing military presence in Eastern Europe and bolstering support for Ukraine by sending troops, defensive weaponry, and implementing economic sanctions. NATO's new Secretary General, Mark Rutte, has prioritized support for Ukraine and seeks to reaffirm its status as a future member of the alliance. However, this stance could lead to tensions among members, especially those close to Moscow, such as Hungary, who are reluctant to get involved in the conflict. China, on the other hand, while not posing a direct military threat to Europe, has been described by NATO as what you would call a critical enabler of the Russian war effort in Ukraine, thanks to its support for Russia's defense industry. This could make China an emerging threat to the alliance, similar to Iran and North Korea, which also support Russia and are considered part of the axis of evil. If China continues in this vein, its role in the conflict could further destabilize global security, highlighting the need for NATO to take a tougher stance towards Beijing. But don't fret, the European Parliament has tabs on China, with a report sent out that warns of their increasing access to critical infrastructure and sectors in the EU, such as ports, airports, rail networks, and telecommunications. This influence in vital areas raises serious concerns about security and sovereignty in the region. Did you know that China's cyber espionage is one of the biggest threats to NATO's security? Let's break it down. Remember the 2017 Equifax hack? Yeah, 147 million people had their data stolen. And the 2021 Microsoft Exchange attack? That hit 250,000 systems worldwide, many in NATO countries. These aren't just random incidents. They show just how sophisticated China's cyber capabilities have become. These attacks highlight the vulnerability of Western critical infrastructures to an increasingly complex threat. NATO isn't just dealing with external threats. They also have some pretty intense internal issues, namely disinformation. For instance, Russian-backed disinformation campaigns have been creating divisions in key member states like the US, France, and Germany. And guess what? It's really eroding public confidence. Allegations of Russia's use of social media during the 2016 US elections deepened this political polarization. Now let's talk about NATO's big dilemma. To keep internal unity strong, political cohesion is essential. Without it, any defense strategy just loses its credibility. Here's the tricky part. NATO has to balance some members' fear of abandonment in a crisis with the risk of being pulled into unwanted conflicts. This is what we call entrapment. This concern hits hard for the Baltic states and Poland, who are worried they could be left alone against Russian aggression if there's not a credible military presence. Baltic states and Poland, we see you. Now, beyond Russian and Chinese threats, we recommend strengthening the Digital Defense Alliance right within NATO. Did you know that the NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence is based in Tallinn, Estonia? It was set up back in 2008 after some serious cyber attacks on the country. However, its status as a NATO-accredited Center of Excellence rather than part of the official command structure presents its challenges. This can lead to coordination issues, as its activities may not be binding or fully aligned with NATO's strategic priorities due to the challenges of aligning the center's activities with NATO's strategic and operational priorities. Therefore, we propose to integrate the CCDCOE more closely into its core operations to ensure that the center's expertise directly supports NATO's response to evolving hybrid threats. Abandonment, as Lenoska warns, could be a consequence if NATO doesn't address unconventional threats like cyber attacks. Imagine a digital Article 5, which could respond to growing cyber threats such as the 2021 Colonial Pipeline attack that crippled US fuel supplies. A collective response would ensure no member faces a large-scale cyber attack on critical infrastructure alone. NATO must adapt swiftly to maintain credibility with its members. For example, in attacks like NotPetya in 2017, a rapid response was crucial to contain damage. mobile cyber units would allow NATO to quickly deploy experts to neutralize threats and protect global networks. Lenoska points out that a multinational cyber innovation center is needed to provide advanced solutions and help weaker member states integrate technologies into their defenses. Without this, less advanced states may fall behind, risking alliance fragmentation and weakening cohesion. And talk about a need for speed. If cyber attacks were a race, we'd definitely want to be in the fast lane. Sharing information on vulnerabilities and attacks, such as the ransomware campaigns, would boost NATO's resilience. Picture having a real-time system that helps members identify and neutralize threats before they spread. We saw how crucial this was during the 2020 SolarWinds attacks, which compromised the security of numerous governments and businesses. Tech giants also play a key role in anticipating these cyber attacks. Expertise from companies like Microsoft, which countered the Russian SolarWinds attack, could be integrated into NATO protocols for stronger defense. Collaborating with cybersecurity firms would also help NATO mitigate attacks early. Moving on to the next topic, how does inequality in financial contributions among its member countries pose another major threat that demands focus? Well, this disparity not only creates internal tensions, but also raises questions about the long-term sustainability of the alliance. With a clear commitment, NATO requires each member to spend at least 2% of their GDP on defense. Can you believe that after the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war, 23 out of 32 members have hit this target? That's a huge jump from just 6 countries in 2021. But there's a catch. It's still super important for all members to meet that goal. The US is the biggest contributor, funding a whopping 68.8% of NATO's budget. That's around $723 billion annually. Meanwhile, Poland has increased its defense spending to 4.2% of its GDP, driven by heightened security concerns due to its proximity to the conflict. Overall, the US's large contribution gives it notable influence over NATO, raising concerns about the balance of power within the alliance. This was evident during Donald Trump's presidency, when his critical stance caused diplomatic tensions and questioned NATO's relevance. Moreover, the delayed commitment from 12 countries only after a war highlights the alliance's shaky commitment and weakens its global standing. In the end, NATO must project unity, ensuring all members share the same core message while allowing flexibility in their approaches. This unity, however, requires a bit of effort, as we must be ready for various challenges with well-prepared responses. Political cohesion is key to effective deterrence. Should NATO enhance its deterrence capabilities and ensure fair financial contributions to remain unified? The success of these efforts will shape NATO's ability to protect collective security in an unpredictable world. Alright, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, should NATO be doing more? And be sure to like and follow for more insights on global security. Stay informed and stay secure.